Yeah, you guys ready to talk about family?
The main event of today.
Even though I feel like we've been talking about family actually a lot in this episode
already. We're talking about family. That's why we're qualified. It's because we prefer...
It's a thematically consistent podcast, whether we're talking about the nature of my YouTube channel, how to watch the movie Playing with Fire appropriately, or our big topic of the day.
Hey, it's John Cena trying to raise kids. It kind of connects there.
It does. It's John Cena, another one of these common threads of the day.
Yeah, he keeps coming up, doesn't he?
Yeah, but we can't see him because he's John Cena.
Exactly. Gal, tell us a little bit about Fast X.
Okay, so Fast X... X is for 10, but it's technically the 11th if you count in Hobbs and Shaw. If you enjoyed Hobbs and Shaw and you count that as part of the franchise, because it's technically in the continuity. And in this one, Dom's family is threatened because Dante Reyes, played by Jason Momoa, is coming after his family. He wants to torture him. He says his suffering is owed because his dad was killed in the events of Fast 5. So it's the 10th movie. Can they still hold on to us? Can they surprise us? Can they entertain? Can they stick to the memes? You know, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, the movie was also it was directed by Louis Leterrier actually. After Vin Diesel had a pretty public I guess falling out with who was it?
Justin Lin.
Justin Lin.
Yeah.
And so he quit when actually was already in production. So it's kind of a miracle that this, at least in my opinion, this movie holds up kind of as well as it does, considering change direction first week of production. It stars also...
It's also very telling about the filmmaking process that it's for movies like this, that it's a machine that this is not a film that the director was controlling and had the strongest voice on it.
Yeah, exactly. We all see it, that it's like Vin Diesel's franchise. He controls the story and all that.
He controls his family.
So cast-wise, I'm just going to list you guys the cast here real quick. So it stars, of course, Vin Diesel as Dominic Toretto, Michelle Rodriguez, Jason Statham, Jordana Brewster, Ludacris, Tyrese Gibson, Natalie Emmanuel, Charlize Theron. There's like so many people in this movie. Sung Kang, John Cena, Helen Mirren, Brie Larson, Scott Eastwood, Jason Momoa, as you said before, Alan Richardson, and Daniela Melchior.
And you forgot EGOT winner, Rita Moreno.
Rita Moreno. I skipped Rita Moreno. I'm sorry, Rita.
As Abuelita Toretto.
No, I love you. I love you, Rita. I'm sorry about that. So yeah, very, very small cast of very untalented people. What the hell are they all doing in a Fast and Furious movie? I still have no idea. But yeah, let's... usually what we do here in the channel, Sean, is that we all briefly go over like what we liked and then we just talk about it. It's not like really that structured when we talk about the movies. So I guess I'll start because I have actually a surprisingly positive
such a turn of events
review of this movie. Even though I hated Fast 9 and or whatever it was called. Was it called Fast 9?
It was F9, the Fast Saga.
Oh my god.
I had to drag into this one because we wanted to see it like for the podcast, but he was like, I can't believe you took me to this.
I was bitching at Gal for a solid hour after this movie, just complaining. But interesting, kind of the opposite happened in this one. I actually had a good time. I had fun. And I think mostly because of Jason Momoa, I called him in my Letterboxd review like he was basically playing gay Joker, and I will stand by that. And I loved every second of it. He was so fun to watch.
So for me, I on my channel use the phrase Taco Bell movies or cinematic junk food, cinematic fast food. The idea that this is not fine dining. This is not designed to be a great meal, but it's highly consumable. It's the sort of thing that you love to eat while knowing this probably isn't good for me. And this whole franchise is that for me. And that's what it's always been. And they've more and more embraced it over the years of we're shameless in our efforts to entertain you. Cooking with lots of butter and sugar, the stuff that's easy to taste good. That's what these movies are kind of for me. And so I felt this movie was probably a good return to form of that 5, 6, 7 in this franchise where I think it was kind of at its peak of being silly, but also not Cars in Space. There's melodrama, but it's not John Cena is Vin Diesel's brother. And so I felt like this kind of dialed it back a little bit. You wouldn't call this movie grounded, but you also don't have cars swinging by cables. And so it just brings it back a little bit and adds more...
Crane, and it like... in Rome, where he like hits the crane and it does the or he plays like whack-a-mole with the helicopters.
Like there's absolutely over-the-top stuff, but Cars in Space... And like that he literally, a car swings across a canyon, flips like this 1,000 times, and they go, whoa. They're not even dizzy. They're not even like dizzy. Not a scratch after flipping 11. I mean, I'm not saying this movie's grounded, but it's dialed back from Cars in Space. Like I said, number 7 has them driving between skyscrapers. So this has been pretty wacky for a while. But it brings it back to that version of wacky. That version of wacky. And then with a villain that's a little bit more personal, with their motivation tying back to what many of us think is the best movie in the franchise. Just a lot of choices that I think went, okay, yeah, this is a little bit better. And I think even it's continuing the spy stuff and kind of in a way doubling down on the spy stuff by making that more integrated in the plot, but not in a way that's like, Dominic Toretto, you are the greatest spy in the entire world, therefore we need you to, like, he's a street racer. What are you talking about? Why do you think a street racer is the greatest spy in the world and is the best fighter in the world? Like, what are you talking about? And so it kind of dials back some of that stuff of sending them on missions to pick like this piece of technology that'll change the world. Dialed that back while still doubling down on the agency, which I think was a good way to like pull those things together. That's a bit more, I don't know if reasonable is the right word, but it just felt like it flowed a little bit better.
I want to read you guys something. This is an article from Vulture, and it's written by Alison Wilmore, and I'm just going to read you the headline and the subheadline. It's whichever one of us is editing it will edit. It says, Fast X feels like a head injury, and then at the bottom it says, but I didn't hate it, which I think is hilarious. But I'm a little bit... I will engage with the dissenting opinion here. And you guys are going to hate me for this. I liked F9 more than Fast X.
You disgust me.
And it's not that it's a good film, F9, but I think I enjoyed the silliness in that one more. Because I think here, I really enjoyed the scene in Rome, but I felt like some of the action after, I didn't feel the stakes or the excitement in the action. I felt like none of the Tyrese Ludacris banner was as funny, and I felt like those story threads weren't going anywhere. Like John Cena, for example, his storyline, it was really good, and they really improved on his character, because then the other one, he's like, I want to kill Dom, and here he gets to be charming, he gets to be very like peacemaker-like, he gets to be John Cena, and that's really great to see. But I just felt like there wasn't excitement as to where the storylines were going, and I think for a lot of people, Jason Momoa elevated the movie, and for me, his dialogue just got really annoying, like time after. I'm not saying he's better than Cena or even Charlize in Fast 8. I also thought her use here was kind of weird, but just like some of his dialogue was too much in a way, because he was all like, he was
disagree.
Just at a if we're rating this like at a 10 or at an 11, he's at a 16. Like,
I disagree. I think it worked. I understand your point, and I also think he was at a 16. But I think in a movie like this, there's a scene where he basically does like Weekend at Bernie's with two guys. And I fucking love that so much. It was so stupid, but it was so funny. And Jason Momoa like really delivers. And yeah, I think also, like Sean was saying, they harken back to Fast 5 a lot, which is also my favorite.
It's probably the best.
Partly because I'm Brazilian, partly because it's actually the best. And I love seeing Rio. And then, but like Sean said, I think having the villain be personal and the stakes being personal, I think it's really what worked for me. Because, yeah, the last villain, John Cena, was personal, but the actual, like, what he was actually doing...
was his whole just gobbledygook.
Exactly, what he's actually doing wasn't really personal. It was like, oh, I want to conquer the world or whatever.
Yeah.
Those are two, like, franchise worst writing moments. Like, they only say, if he gets Ares, he'll reprogram the world order. And then later, Han's telling the story about the rogue agent, and then John Cena just comes in, and during the conversation, he says, I was the rogue agent. He doesn't even say, I brought Mr. Nobody's plane now. As if he knows that they were talking about this story. I was the rogue agent. Like, those are some franchise worst moments there.
And I love how we're saying that this one, and by the way, I agree with you, Sean, that this is like more grounded, like maybe like in the franchise as a whole. And I love that what we think is grounded in this franchise is John Cena transforming a canoe into a plane and jumping out of a different plane. And we consider that to be slightly more grounded than what we've been getting lately.
Or Dom playing whack-a-mole with a helicopter on other cars.
He's such a good driver. He can figure out how to crash two helicopters into each other while they're lifting him off the ground.
Physics, man, physics.
It's all luck. Like they said in the last movie, we're invincible. It's all faith.
We don't have anywhere to land the plane. We don't need to land. Just drops his car on two cars. The other cars explode, and he drives off of them. Grounded.
Like I believe that the first draft of Who Said Anything About Landing of that line is, I don't have gravity, I have family. Like the meme of that.
Okay, I kind of want to go into spoilers a little bit, so we'll put like our thing of spoilers. Right now, if I think it's me that's gonna edit it. So Alan, please put the spoiler thing. But why does I'm not complaining about this. It's actually the opposite. I actually like that they did this. But why the hell does nobody actually die in this franchise? Actually, it's even to an 11 because the person that actually died in real life didn't even die in this franchise. So, like, nobody dies in this franchise. So...
Jaimin Hansu died in the 7th movie, or Jason Momoa's dad.
They're all
Gina
coming
Carano.
back. They're all coming back to the left. First of all, I we all here, like, watched all of them. I think I still haven't watched Tokyo Drift, honestly. But I watched all the other ones. And I think you guys watched every single one of them. Did you guys get excited when you saw like some of the odd characters pop up? Did you care that it made absolutely no sense? Like, what was the vibe there?
Unfortunately, all of it was spoiled by the internet. Spoilers totally okay? So Gal Gadot was spoiled back in December. They test screened the movie, and they did two different theaters. They showed two different versions of the movie. In one of them, she showed up, and the other one she didn't. They were testing how well people would respond to that. So they A/B tested her appearing in the movie, and so then it was out there since December that got spoiled, which is really frustrating. Like I know a guy that goes test screenings, and like I have access to information about movies and things like.
Mm-hmm. But is that like the guy who was like talking about the creator and all that?
Yeah, he saw the creator.
Yeah.
And so, but like in my mind, that's the tool of that isn't to spoil things. Like he on one occasion accidentally sent me a plot description of Transformers: Rise of the Beasts, a movie I don't really care if it's spoiled for me, but I didn't read it anyway because I don't want it spoiled for me. And so it makes me angry that there's people that like. There's a big difference between me being like, oh, my friend saw the creator at a test screening. It's really good. Put it on your radar. And here's a spoiler. This person shows up. Why did you do that? And then, of course, The Wrap, a major trade, put out a headline, The Rock returning to Fast and the Furious. And then if you read down 3 sentences in the post-credits scene, and so I had people send this to me, and I was like, I'm pretty sure this is a spoiler. this is a spoiler for the movie. And so I'm like, dude, why'd you send me a spoiler? And he goes, oh, sorry, I didn't actually read the text where it says it's a post-credit scene. And so the audacity, the absurdity of posting a post-credit scene spoiler as an exclusive. I could do that too. Let me text my buddy that has already seen Aquaman 2, that has already seen Transformers, that has already seen The Creator. Hey man, can you tell me a spoiler about the end of the movie? I'll just post it on Twitter. Hey, I've got an exclusive. Here's the end of this movie. That's not an exclusive, that's a spoiler. You're the Wrap. How do you not know that? Or how do you not care about that? How are you so jaded and cynical as the Wrap? Variety did it with Eternals and Harry Styles. Like, and they saw it they were literally at the world premiere. They were at the world premiere and they went, hey, we got an exclusive. Harry Styles, One Direction, he's in this movie. He's in the MCU now. Put it out as a tweet.
Harry Styles, and I'm like, I knew it because I got it spoiled for me on the headline if you search up Eternals on the opening weekend.
Yeah. Usually I get spoiled by those things. I'm trying to get better to like who I watch on YouTube and all that, because I've been spoiled by some people before and I stopped watching them. Actually, I don't remember who he was, but I remember like the season 2. Did you watch The Mandalorian? So when Luke shows up in the end of season 2, I was late to watching that because I wanted to watch it with my roommates. We made it like a weekly thing that we all watched it together, right? And so I had to wait for them, and like in the one day that I had to wait for them, I was scrolling through YouTube, and these jackasses put Luke Skywalker in the thumbnail. It wasn't even in the video, and say like finale reaction. It was just Luke there.
It's a thing. It used
and
to be
it
like
ruined the episode for me. Like I saw it with my roommate the day after that. And he was like almost crying excited when he saw Luke, and I was like, at least I get to live this like through you because I already knew it was gonna happen.
It's like it used to be. You should wait a month before talking spoilers, then it was a week, then it was a day.
It's like,
now
dude,
it's like 2 hours.
It's already been out for a day. Why didn't you know? Here's one that happened. It wasn't spoiled for me but so I was working on my coverage of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So I was doing all these YouTube searches for Guardians of the Galaxy. The day before the movie comes out in the US, because it releases, you guys are ahead of us, and so a lot of times Australia basically gets movies a day before us. So it's
we usually get it like a day before, like the big ones, like the really big ones.
And they post the YouTube clips of the whole scene and like the torrented.
So this Guardians 3, and I'm not searching for Guardians Volume 3 clip spoilers or anything like that, but I'm searching for Guardians, and top row of recommendations, it's a spoiler for the post-credit scene of Guardians 3. And I think my wife saw it, but she wouldn't have any context to know or care. But like, the movie is not, you're not able to watch it in the United States yet. And right there is a screen image in the thumbnail of the post-credit scene that is absolutely a gigantic spoiler for the movie. Anyone that is like following along with the plot of this movie and is not, my wife, that someone that's invested in this, would see that image and immediately have something spoiled. And you have it before the movies even come out.
Exactly. Yeah. So, like, harkening back to the movie.
Oh yeah, that's right. We're talking about Fast X.
To keep talking about Fast X, unfortunately. No, anyway, I actually had a good time. But I will say, like, the thing that was spoiled for me is that someone was gonna come back. I don't know how neither of those appearances was spoiled for me. But I was really happy that they weren't, because I was actually like surprised. I was like, okay, the movie is over, and I thought someone was supposed to come in, and then Gadot comes in like the last scene, and then when that huge dude shows up, he has a mask, but you were like,
it was so obvious.
Like, that's The Rock. There's nobody that's that big. So
Dave Bautista, Vin Diesel's cousin. No.
But like, still, either way, it was like really fun because we were in Israel, so like every time Gal Gadot shows up in anything, people here lose their shit. So like, because it's like the only famous Israeli actress. Because like Natalie Portman isn't like, I guess she didn't live here for that long, I guess, or something. So she's not a lot of people know that she's Israeli. So like,
but I mean, in Gal,
yeah.
I mean, she was in the.
She was in the army. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like true, like born and raised.
She went to our school, actually, to our university.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
To be like a lawyer. I guess that didn't work out.
Oh, that's too bad that didn't work out for her. I hope she's able to find her place in this world.
Exactly. I feel warm. But yeah, so like anytime that she shows up, she showed up.
Let's pause on that just a minute. Like, becoming a world famous model and A-list actress was her backup plan. Because becoming a lawyer didn't work out. Like, those are the ones that are on the table for you. You're really smart. You're like the prettiest woman on the planet. And you're a movie star. Some people's lives are so difficult.
So hard. Poor Gal Gadot. She only got to become Wonder Woman.
Yeah, that's it.
So anyway, everyone freaked out, like, because we were, of course, in a screening here. And like, again, I really like her. I like her a lot, even though I know she gets a lot of crap from a lot of people for like her acting ability. But I always like thought she was fine. And then The Rock. The Rock was pretty big for me because like we were talking about, Fast 5 is like our favorite. So I'm really excited to see what he's gonna bring to the table in the next one. Because actually, Hobbs and Shaw is also one of my favorites in this franchise.
Well, I mean, Jason Statham and The Rock are way more entertaining and charismatic than Vin Diesel. and their characters are always designed to be way more fun and entertaining than Vin Diesel. Like, I don't got friends, I got family.
Movies for Vin Diesel, you have Triple X. That's like his Fast and Furious alternative.
Right. There's a reason that, like, I mean, his whole career since the fourth Fast and Furious movie has just been Fast and Furious movies. He did like a witch hunter movie, and then he tried to and like that's kind of it. And there's a reason that these other two guys do a way more stuff. They have obviously The Rock has this big gigantic career. Jason Statham, I don't think it's like he's never quite reached that A-list, but he's always remained right at B+. That he does these B movies, but then he's like small roles in larger films. He can be really funny, like he can lead certain types of movies. And you put the two of them together, they have great chemistry, and so they're wildly entertaining. And so they're just a big add to these films.
I actually came up, I think, with the perfect analogy for this movie when we came out of the theater. I told Gal, like, listen, I think this is a Fast and Furious Infinity War, what we just watched. Like, you got everyone coming back, and like, but everyone's kind of like separate, like in their own, like, like part of the story and all that. And then now you have like even like two kind of like, Gal Gadot wasn't really a post-credit scene, but like that type of review. And then The Rocks, and you just know they're like trying to do like a weird endgame kind of thing in the last one, where they're like, it's a scene of all of them like racing together or some shit. See you
again playing in the background for Brian.
And like literally all of them. How many are there? Like 20, 25 I think there's huge actors. So I have no doubt that that's how they planned this movie out. Like, again, the villain kind of like wins at the end of this one. Same way that happened with Infinity War. And it was supposed to be like the end of like a saga. So
also,
yeah,
we're talking about Diesel's performance. I don't think he still really has it, like, because it's always about Dom and it's always about his journey. And this one, Jason Momoa challenges him because it's a really interesting thing, actually. He's like, you're all about protecting and you causes havoc to protect your family. How do you choose the ones you save? And that's an interesting thing. And there's also this thing about like him being reckless as a younger self. How does he come to terms with who he was younger, his humble beginnings? They could have like tried to... I can't believe we're going back to this, but bring Dom down to earth. But instead, the solution to that is just, I choose to save my family because they're my family and I love my family. Like, it just goes down to him. Like, I protect my family because this is my wife, this is my son.
That's his
Like,
character.
That's his character. I'm a family man. I don't have friends. I got family.
We're talking about
and
spoilers.
this is my baby mama's sister. Like, they all have to be connected.
Yeah.
Like, it can't be a new character anymore.
But like, I will say that I liked one thing that they did. Gal did not like this. We talked about this already. I liked the stupid Alan Richardson villain review at the end. I thought it was so. This is how dumbed down these movies are. That I thought that was refreshing in the Fast and Furious franchise, because it felt so easy that like they just became friends. They basically like look at each other like, okay, I guess we're friends now, and that's what happened with the whole saga. Like, they're villains, and then they look at each other and they're friends.
Right. Wait. Like, you get to the end of Fate of the Furious. Furious 7, Jason Statham is the villain, and a huge reveal for this franchise. One of the biggest reveals of the entire franchise is that in Tokyo Drift, the person that killed Han was Jason Statham. He killed a member of the family. And then 7 is driven by the fact that Jason Statham blows up Dom's famous house for the family. The house where they do the barbecues is blown up, and one of the members of the family is killed by Jason Statham. Ends with gigantic street fight. Like, the street always wins. By the end of the 8th movie, Jason Statham shows up at the barbecue, and they're drinking Coronas. Like, literally, that guy is at the barbecue. Hey!
It's like, I hope we're even now. And he's like, anyone will do anything for family. And they like shake hands as if to say, we're in the family now.
And that's what's gonna happen to Cypher now, 100%.
And Cypher murdered Elsa Pataky in front of him and took his son hostage, made him become a fugitive.
That's
And now she's
fine.
gonna be like, I found Giselle, so I should also, like...
Yeah, so like that's
Coronas.
which is exactly my point. Like, I thought it was refreshing that he stayed a villain. That like he like tricks Vin in the stupidest way, because Vin is like, oh, okay, I guess we're friends now, and then he just
refreshing. They added a big muscular guy that's not bald this time.
By the way, what's his agency called? The Agency. But I don't know, like the way he did it, and he just shows up with the rocket launcher, and he's like, "How do you choose the ones you save, Dom? I told you." It felt for me like I was the rogue agent. Like he knows that Jason Momoa said, "How do you choose the ones you save?" And now he's like,
I thought it was funny. Like I was into it. When he said that with the hugest rocket launcher, I was like, yeah, fuck it.
I enjoyed the scene in Rome the most. I thought that was the most fun. But then also,
and I also love Alan Richardson anyway.
I'm always rooting for him, but it was a weird character.
So, what are you guys' expectations for Fast 11?
I think what's that this late in the game, they're like, actually, we're going to do 2 more. When they set up, okay, they lose this time. They've got beaten up, outplayed. Everything's blown up. The power is all this agency. What are they going to do? And then our big reveals at the end are nobody's really dead. They're all coming back, and the Rock's joining back up. He's buddies with Vin Diesel. Everyone's coming back for the big finale. That feels like we're going to do our big throwdown movie where we're going to defeat this guy. We're going to end the agency that's responsible for whatever's going on here. So it doesn't feel like there's 2 movies there. I don't know what that means. Like, what's the...
It's like if they
I think it was
ended...
supposed to be, like, the only thing greenlit is one less movie now. This was supposed to be, like, a 2-part finale. But I think Vin Diesel kind of wanted to get traction for, like, a 3-part finale. So he started saying in the press that he wants to do a 3rd movie. But from my research, Universal has not greenlit that. That's like Vin trying to get it going. So for now, it's still like the next one is the last one.
No, but then they're going to be like, Fast X Part 3 was a trilogy all along. And then they're going to say that about the next Part 3.
I really hope Universal like shuts him down. I think he didn't make as much money as they thought he would have. So I think they want to do a third one for this
You
story.
mean a 12/13th or whatever?
Yeah.
11 slash. I don't even know anymore. 11/12.
Because this movie costs like 350 million to make, which is ridiculous.
Part 2A.
Did you guys know about this? This movie, only this one, cost $350 million.
It's because of how many A-listers they had, probably. Because Vin Diesel, John Cena, Jason Statham, Brie Larson, Helen Mirren.
So that's why I don't think Universal
Charlize
is
Theron.
gonna...
They can all negotiate their own salaries, and now they have The Rock.
Yeah. So that's why I don't think Universal is gonna
And Gal
greenlight
Gadot.
a third one, because that means like they would have spent in 3 movies like more than $1 billion, and the 3 of them are not gonna make $1 billion each. So plus like advertising and all that, it would be like $1.5 billion. So like, I don't think they're greenlighting a third one. I'm hoping like that the next one is actually the last one, and we can all go home. And like 3 years from now, they'll do one that like Dom's son is grown up or whatever. I think that's it.
And that's someone is people have asked me like, what do you think would be the satisfying conclusion to the finale? Do you want Dom to die? What do you think's the finale? Like you don't want Dom to die because the same thing you didn't want Brian to die. Like the idea that they go off and then they have peaceful lives. But that the problem is when you have so many movies where it ends with then they go back to their normal lives and drink Coronas at the house. Like when that's the end, especially rewatching them, you realize how many of these movies end with them at a party drinking Coronas. Like,
Side. We've seen Giselle come back. We've seen Han come back. How do we know Dom's not going to crawl out of the grave? Be like, I don't have. He literally said to Helen Mirren, I don't care about dying. I care about family. So.
But yeah, this is the person that really dies. You wouldn't believe it anyway. So
If it was the last
John
one,
Wick-
I think we would believe
But John
it.
Wick, you don't know.
I think if it was like officially the last one, we would believe it. And I kind of want to see Vince's character die. That's because I mostly hate.
What would kill him? What would give him a scratch?
I don't know, but
know.
I hate him. I hate seeing him mumbling on screen. Like I can't handle it anymore. Like I watched this movie for like everyone around him, not him. But yeah, let's see what's gonna happen. Like, and who knows? Maybe we'll have you again next year to talk about the hopefully not part 2, hopefully finale of this freaking movie.
The fast finale, the last of the Furious.
So,
Scores out of 10.
Yeah, scores out of 10. I forgot we did that.
I actually said my score when I filmed my review, and then I went, and I cut it in editing because I just know how I've overstated my scores in the past because that thing I mentioned before. So I haven't actually said publicly a score for this movie yet.
It would take like at least a week or so for this to come out. Is that okay?
But I want to I need a year. I need to know what I feel about this movie in a year. Can you guys give me a time machine? Do you have one of those?
Okay, so hopefully
Can we
we'll
make
have
a
you again to
disclaimer?
talk about the next one,
Can we make
and
a
then you'll
disclaimer?
give us this grading when we're talking about the grading of the next one. So Gal, tell us your rating.
I'm sorry, it's a 4 out of 10 for me. I'm like,
how dare you? How dare you?
How dare you, indeed.
okay, I know it's bad because y'all liked this more than F9, and I, on initial viewing at least, I haven't really watched it all the way through since, but I gave F9 a 6 out of 10 initially. This one initially a 4 out of 10. Hobbs and Shaw is like 5 or 6.
What?
Furious 7 is like 8. Fate of the Furious is like 6 or 7. This one's a 4. I don't know, man. This is the one where I just didn't feel excitement watching it. The others at least felt like it was a good action comedy. Like it had a flow, not even good action comedy, but it flowed and it had the action and it had the comedy. This one, it got really tiring compared to the others for me.
I disagree entirely for all the reasons we said throughout this episode. I would go actually a 7 out of
Damn,
10.
what a turn of events, because I was
Because
dreading seeing this movie.
I had so much fun, and that's all I care about anymore when going to the movies these days. It's all about how I feel, and if I felt like I had a fun time, it's a 7 out of 10 fun for me.
Hey, I mean, that's the point of Fast and nothing more.
So yeah, and the last one I actually gave a 4, so I guess we switched.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how to score these movies because they're so. I have so much fun with them in the theater. I'll go way ahead of you. I will go I don't know. I feel like any score I give it, I'll regret it in the future. And also,
Oh, I know I'll regret mine, so go
Okay,
ahead.
how about this?
So, I'll go 8 out of 10. I'm gonna go for it, but it's entertainment value. It's not like that's that difference between like in my reviews I always have letters and numbers, and in theory the numbers supposed to be a little bit more, or letters supposed to be a little bit more the overall quality, and then the numbers entertainment value. I don't know if I'm very good at actually having different enough scores there, but like. It's of course dumb. I can't defend any of the logic of it. Every issue that you mentioned about, I went, yeah, that's true, but who cares? It was fun. I had a good time in the theater. How dare you? How do I kick him out of his own stream? How do I do that?
Right?
I
There
went
we
from
go.
Yeah! Yes! There we go.
There we go. It's
We
only
won!
people that like Fast and Furious 10 now.
I went from incredible taste to requesting to get kicked out by my guest.
Okay, so guys, Sean, thank you so much for joining us. This was actually a blast. Like we were thinking we were gonna do this for like 40 minutes. We're here like for an hour and a half.
Yeah, I never go short. I always talk way too long. That's classic me.
That only happens when we really like our guests, because at least for me, I hate having this in my head for that long. Yeah, it was a blast. Where can people find you? Again, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, big one on YouTube. Sean Chandler Talks About is my main channel. There's also Sean Chandler Plus that has kind of... Sean Chandler Talks About is more like rankings or reviews of big things. Sean Chandler Plus is more kind of talking about editorials, movie news, things like that. On Twitter, my handle is Kirk Never Died, and on the Instagram, it's Sean Talks About. I didn't do that thing that responsible people do where your handles on everything are the same, so you have to like remember 4 different ones for me.
Remember, he likes Star Trek for the Twitter one.
Yes.
There
It's
you
a
go.
Star Trek reference. People, what does that mean? Star Trek.
I got that, Kurt.
Gal, where
It's
can
not
people
Kirk
find
Lagaris from
us?
Tropic Thunder. It's not the Kirk from Tropic Thunder. You can find us at Film Fanatics Pod on Instagram, Film Fanatics at YouTube. We are also on Spotify, and you can enjoy us on all of those platforms, including our previous episodes with some great guests.
We're also in Apple Podcast, Google Podcasts, and I think there's another one. I'm not sure. I probably should know. Yeah, you can find us there. You can remember to also subscribe. Oh, I always get this wrong. Is it here? There you go.
There.
To subscribe to our channel.
I would have done that too.
There you go. Thank you, Sean.
Yeah.
Go watch Sean stuff. You probably, if you're here, you probably already watched Sean stuff.
Absolutely.
But yeah, go watch him more and stay tuned. More to come soon. Thank you guys for watching. See ya.
Bye-bye.